It's been so long since I've been here, but I'm happy to be back. All right, let's just get right into it. Today, I am going to be doing a little bit more of an in-depth tutorial to headshot makeup. Recently on my TikTok, I did a little bit of a review of the last look that I did. But then a couple people and a couple friends reached out and they were kind of interested in more of what was the actual process that went into it. So I'm pretty close. I know that it's jarring. Okay, so right about here, my veins are very close to the top layer of my skin, so it's a little bit more blue right there. So I'll be going in with a small amount of color corrector. Yellow is on the opposite end of the spectrum of blue. In addition to that, I'll be doing a different primer. The first one I used was a matte primer, but I wanted to give this a try, see what it looked like with the difference. I'll also be doing, I didn't end up using my brow tint, so I'm going to try that today. And then I did go and get a brown mascara, so I'll be doing that in addition to the primer that I used last time. All right, so that being said, let's go ahead and get started.
First, I just go ahead and apply the Hydro Grip Primer to all over my face. And next, I tested out the viscosity of this type of color corrector. I noticed that it was a bit on the thinner side, so I applied it and then fanned it down just a bit before using the heat of my fingertips to tap it down.
You want a mostly matte foundation and look to your makeup when doing headshots. Camera will catch up on the light on your skin, and so the popular dewy, glowy look is not the best for the camera. For me personally, I'm going to be going with the most natural look as possible. I will be using the smallest amount of Makeup Forever HD. A lot of like my makeup friends have used this on set, so I'm trying to just mirror a little bit of what some of my makeup artist friends have done. This is all that I'm going to be putting on, and if I even put on all of that. I'll be using my Rare Beauty foundation brush, and I have just found that it's excellent. It's a little bit better for me than applying just with the heat of my skin.
Since I only need a little bit of coverage, I applied the foundation to the areas that needed it most. I recommend multiple thin layers of foundation if you have more coverage needed for your skin.
So as you can see, it still looks like my skin, right? It doesn't look like much has changed, but what I'll show you a little bit more is that, again, I have a little bit of pinkness around this area of my face. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, but I do want my skin to look as even as possible for my headshots. One thing I did not do last time was I had said that I wanted to not use a lot, like any contour. I am feeling a little bit adventurous today, so I'm going to give it just like a little bit of try. I will be using the Milk Makeup. It is a little bit on the cooler side, so again, I just want to give a little bit of dimension since I do have like a little bit more of a rounder face. I will be taking the foundation brush again and just lightly taking off the top a little bit and putting right a little bit underneath the highest point of my cheekbone.
My main goal is to create more of a shadow effect in order to achieve that dimension I'm going for. So what I do is I apply most of the product near the hairline and then brush down before brushing up. Here's a little bit more of the nose coverage as well.
It doesn't look like I did a ton, okay? And it's not supposed to. Now, next is my Rare Beauty blush, and then I'll be placing it on the highest point of my cheekbones, just to give a little bit more life to the face. And then I might bring it in just a little bit to the corner of my eyes.
One thing you might notice is I do apply like pigments and foundations to my hand before dipping my brush in, almost like a palette. One of those reasons is because the warmth of your skin warms up the makeup a little bit more. And you kind of caught me here making a little bit of a mistake with applying just a touch too much blush in one sitting. Again, the name of the game is multiple thin layers of makeup.
Oh, good heavens. Okay, so I accidentally did more blush on this side that I wanted to. So I went ahead and tried to dab a little bit away and put it onto this side. This time I'm going to be trying Gimme Brow, and that's going to maybe just darken and shape my eyebrows a little bit more. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then at the same time I'll also be applying the gel just to kind of press them down.
Take the pigment and from the corner of your brow, brush upwards and inwards to fill in, and then follow the curve of your brow with gel.
We'll be going in with the smallest amount of eyeshadow on the crease of where my eyelid and the top of my eyelid meet. I'll be using Velvet, and to be quite honest with you, as I'm looking at it, it's the same shade as my contour stick. So maybe the next time I try, I'll use my contour stick to brush, but for now, I'm sticking with the eyeshadow.
This is a blending brush that I'm doing exactly as I said with the crease of my eyebrow and upwards just a touch like a cat eye almost. And notice how I'm not going all the way inward to the inner corner of my eye. I'm trying to allow that to continue to be bright.
And I did want to show this part of the process. There's no mistakes. If you do a little bit too much or more than what you wanted, I would recommend make sure your fingers are clean, but just go ahead and maybe take away some of the product. Now, before I do my eyelashes, I'm going to go in with a little bit of setting powder on my T-zone. My thought process is to, again, get this to be as matte as possible. Did I even record the last bit? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the powder and go in with my primer on my eyelashes. It's Wet n Wild. I just got a random primer. Anyway, and then a brown lash. So I'm gonna go do that, make it quick.
Using eyelash primer has been a game changer for me. One of the things that I've noticed, it is easier for me to apply pigment to my lashes and to shape them. In addition to that, it's much easier to remove at the end of the day with a cleanser.
Okay, so that is the eyelashes. I'm a fan. I like it. It's not too much. It still goes with the natural. It's brown like my eyelashes are. Gives it still a little bit of shape. One of the tips that I was given is if you're going for a more natural look, you want to go 1 to 2 shades darker than your lips are for lipstick. This is a Revlon Ultra HD matte lip color. And it does go on a little bit glossier than you would assume a matte stick does.
I applied the color to the natural curve of my lips rather than making any different shapes.
That is the final look. I'm going to shift the camera a little bit to be more direct head on so you can see what I'm talking about. The only notes that I maybe have for now is I do think that setting powder kind of lifted my skin tone a shade higher than I wanted. So I might be trying maybe a more translucent setting powder next time. But otherwise, I'm very satisfied with this. I think I will continue to do the brows. I can't wait to take my headshots later this month. And now the obligatory plugs. If you're not already following me on TikTok, that's where I do majority of my posting. Links are below, and I also have it pretty easy to find. And again, thank you for interacting with this video. It means a lot to me as I continue to pursue acting and content creation and multimedia production. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, keep your eyes peeled. I'm considering doing an outfit tutorial as well for when it comes to headshots. Okay, I will see you later. Mwah.